gotta be cool with them. Hey, I'm here to steal your clients. Would it bother you if I stole your clients and it cost you money? First thing you need to do is ask your ask the people if they mind you coming there, and then the owners. Yeah, you can't just trespass up in there. Hello, I'm live over here on the Facebook. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for getting on here. It's Thursday, man. These weeks are going by quick. They're picking up steam. If you agree, say I agree. On the Facebook, I need a comment. Please do me a favor. Like, comment, share the stream. Hit that like button. If you want to help me out, all you got to do is hit like and share it. Whose noise is that? For some reason, I get very annoyed at noise. Like if other people are talking in there, I just feel I don't like the way it sounds. Hello, everybody. Thank you for getting on here. So I want you to think about this as I speak. We all have baggage, especially if you're over 25. How old are you? 21. He's 19. You're 23. You're 22. Jeez. And you're 25.
You're old, Hayden.
Joy Calvin, the weeks are flying by. Bring on spring selling season. I feel like we're in the spring selling season. We're here early. I like that. We got prepared late last year for an early January. But Josh was saying something about our past. Our past are usually great predictors of our future because most people don't know how to get rid of things that causes them to do the same things they've always done. Does that make sense? Most people are always gonna duplicate what they've done in the past. And you can ask people, how did you make sense of buying this in your past is a great way to predict how they're going to make sense of buying it in the future. So every night before I go to bed, my wife bought this little, I don't know what you would call it, but it tracks like 3 years of the dates. Like today's January 28th. So it's going to have 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. 2021, 2022, 2023. And it asks us these little questions. I don't know. Hello, Rabbit. Thank you for getting on here. I don't know if it's a diary. I don't know what you would call this. But it just asks little questions every single day. And it asked a powerful one yesterday. The question was, what do you need to get rid of? My wife is on here right now. Hello, Brittany Renee. It was a very powerful question. Especially when you become an old timer. You're looking back. And you're trying to make sense of a bigger future, but there's part of you that looks at your past. It's hard to not look at your past. It's hard to unlearn things that weren't true in your life. So the first thing I was thinking about is, what do I need to get rid of? And I wrote down a few things. And it got me thinking. One thing that I really it's a couple's journal with prompted questions each day. That's what I was trying to say. It's a couple's journal. So what are things, Josh, see at 19 years old, you're developing new things, and I hope I'm giving you enough influence to where you're learning things that were a lot better than me. So one of the things that I've learned throughout my life was the way I grew up. And being a guy, I think a lot of boys growing up, they're confronted and they want to know how to defend themselves. They don't want to be no little weak-ass dude, do they? They don't want to be no little bitch, especially the way I grew up. And I grew up in an area where it was very confrontational, okay? And back in those days, confrontation would turn into push and shove and maybe get broken up. Maybe there'd be a fight. Okay, well, that's something that I learned at an early age, and it's something, as I got older, I would hang around people that were rumble-tumble. We'd go out and drink, and we'd like to get in fights. That was kind of what we like to do. So as I matured into later life, y'all's age, 25 up into 30, now whenever I talk to people, and they get an attitude with me, it was hard for me to control myself. Because this story pops up from back in those days. You're challenging me. You're talking to me like this. It made me feel a certain way. Well, it becomes a huge weakness in our business. It becomes a huge weakness if you're trying to learn how to sell things. If you get defensive with people, you're never going to be able to convince people. Chris Clark heard this yesterday listening to Bob Goff's Dream Big. The universe is amazing. Hey, I didn't hear it, so I might not be as good as old Bobby. But I'm just telling you my experience. But we had a situation yesterday where getting rid of something. We had a situation yesterday where Drew had to handle a situation, and whenever he called the dude, it didn't go good. And I know Drew. I know Drew battles these things, and do you know why I know Drew battles them? Because I've gone through it. If I can spot it in you, it's because I've been there before. You know what I'm saying? So whenever people accuse you of something or they're saying something, it's probably more about them than it is about you. I see this in you. That's why I'm saying this. So Drew called him, and I was making Drew, this was not a very fun call at all. But he had to do it. And I was telling him what to say, and then instead of telling him what to say, I'm like, dude, let's do it now. Let's not let this thing grow. Let's not let this get bigger, because here's what's going on. It's controlling your mind to where now your mind is going to tell you it's even bigger deal than what it really is. You can't move on with other things. You can't talk to other clients because this idea, this thing is growing so big, it's taking up everything in your brain. Imagine when you feel like that, now you're talking to them. You put so much pressure on yourself. This thing is huge. Get rid of it. So he called him, and it didn't go great. But Drew really was, he wasn't ready for those calls because he hadn't had to do it many times. So we coached him up again, and he called him. And I don't like to get involved in y'all's deals. And the reason why I don't like to do that is because I don't want to take away a teaching moment for you. If I do it for you, it will get done, but what I like you to do is confront something that you're scared of and then try to solve the problem. If I jump in there and do it, I'm really not helping you. I might help you in the moment. So I really try to stay away from those situations and let you go through this, let you experience it. Because I'm not looking at you solving this one problem. I'm wanting you to build on this problem and go to other problems and solve those problems. So Drew got on there, and the guy, I could tell how it was going. And Drew was, he didn't really know exactly what to say, so he was locked up a little bit. Didn't know what to say back to it. The guy was saying things to him with certainty. And Drew really couldn't decipher, is that right? I don't know, because I don't know enough about this. So I'm sitting there, and it was a rare situation where I just took the phone. And I got on there, and I'm like, I understand what you're saying, but what you're saying ain't going to work. And let me tell you what ain't going to work. And I went through it, and that guy was no longer defensive, but I took the defense away from him. I wasn't going to allow him to turn me into a defensive person. So the way I did that is I understand. I know why this is defensive for you.
Do you think people like that try to turn you into a defensive person, or is it just
They probably do because it's worked for them in their past. We do whatever works. We learn to manipulate to get what we want from our past. People get mad, then they turn it into an argument, and they win. That's their strategy. It's not an intended strategy. It's just something that they inherently do. Okay? So whenever you're talking to people, I knew why he was going to be upset. He had to go tell somebody bad news. Terrible news. Hey, it was terrible. So the reason why he was mad was not because of what Drew was saying. He was mad because of what he had to go confront now. That's why he was upset. And he's going to say things because really we're wrong. Think about this. We had to call up the dude, say we're sorry and we're wrong. Now you got to go do this for us. It was not a great situation. How do you calm that? How do you deal? This is something that I've had to work through. When people get mad at you, how do you respond? When people yell at you, how do you respond? This is still like with the people I'm really emotional, like with my wife she can rattle me the easiest. People that you care about and love the most are probably the people that can really, really rattle you. My wife can just make a little comment to me, and I can lose my shit over that.
Hey, well, I love you too.
I mean, she can just say something, and the reason why she can affect me so easily is because of how much I care about her and how much I care about us. She has power over me. That's why. But a lot of people going down the road that cut you off, are you going to allow them to have power over? Do you get mad when somebody does that?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm the opposite of road rage.
Does anybody well, I'm just using road rage as an example. Do you get mad when somebody runs up on you?
Yeah, for like a second. That's just my natural reaction.
I know.
After that,
But these are indicators that will hold you back. The further you're trying to climb, the higher you're trying to go, there's these little blind spots that you have that you've got to overcome and to break through to get to another level. Do you get defensive easy?
I do.
I do. You already sound mad. Give me an example of something that makes you defensive.
I don't know.
When somebody yells at you, does that bother you?
Depends what they're yelling at. If they're yelling to make me better, I understand and I kind of accept it. But at that point, I get frustrated and defensive internally.
Yeah. Does it allow you to be turned into what they are? Do you become a yeller back, or can you stay calm?
No, I can stay calm.
See, that's a great skill in our business, because people are going to make you mad because of how you're making them feel, how they're dealing with something. Remember, the reaction you get from people is not about you. It's about how they handle things. It has nothing to do with you. But for some reason, whenever people respond a certain way to us, we get uncool, we get angry, we get just raging out of control. Zena's probably one of the few people that can do that to you, because you're a pretty cool cat.
She's the only person.
Because you care about her. She has power over you, and that's the way relationships work. So I was somebody, like I used to get mad if somebody's just staring at me. What are you looking at? Seriously. So who's got the problem there? Do you understand what I'm saying? It happens so often in relationships. Things happen, and then what happens is really based solely on how that person responds to it. I used to get so offended whenever people would talk about me. Like if they were saying something bad about me, hey, I'm going to call them out on that. You can't talk about me like that. Whose problem is that? But why is it a problem? If you're saying something bad about me, why do I allow that to be a problem?
You're not mentally strong enough to handle it.
Because I believe something about you, Josh. Maybe you're right. I get mad about it. Because I don't have enough self-belief to overcome your statement. Now when people say something about me, I don't care. It's really, whenever people talk about me, I really look at it like it's none of my business. Because what you're saying about me ain't about me. It's really about something in you. Because you've seen something in me you're struggling with. Does that make sense? What you say about other people, you're really struggling internally. Weatherman's really good at this, and the Weatherman is on here. I don't know, Joshy. You was a little mad at me yesterday. Were you mad at Weatherman yesterday?
Can get to me too sometimes.
Can he? Weatherman is awesome at talking about this. He used to say things, and it took me a while to really catch up with his logic and his understanding about how people work. Man, he ain't mad at you about this. He's mad at you about that. I was taking everything in a literal sense. Like he's mad at me because I did this. No, he's mad at you about these other things.
Isn't that crazy how that works?
Yeah, if you and Zena aren't right and you come in here and I'm chirping at you, you're probably going to respond to me.
Right.
Or you're going to be, you're going to be go into a little bitch mode about something. But really,
I'm not mad at you. I'm mad
it ain't about me. But so for some reason, we allow everything and everybody to have power over us. This is something that held me back for a long time, and it's still something to this day I struggle with Brittany. I can ask her a question. If she gets defensive, I get pissed off. Look at all this shit I do for you, woman. I go there. That's how weak she can make me. That's what this is, by the way, is looks like I'm getting rid of 200 on Valentine's Day. Yes, you are. Because I'm getting skinny, Brian Burns. Actually, you don't have to owe me anything. We're just going to be even. Or I don't know exactly what you're talking about. It may be something else. But I got tired of always being at the mercy of other people accepting my apology. They would say something, and I just got tired of getting so rattled. I had to go back to them and say, I'm sorry. Because of my reactions. Control your shit. Control yourself. You got to learn how to emotionally stay cool. Especially in our job, especially when you're calling people. That's why I say when they respond to you like they respond to you when you're calling and asking for 30 seconds, how could they possibly be mad at you?
Because they're mad at themselves.
No, well, they're mad at all the other people.
Yeah.
They're mad at all the other people they've called. But I'm different. I understand. They just weren't good. They couldn't connect with you like I could. We could be friends. Are you paying attention to how you respond to? Are you paying attention to how you respond to others? Are you paying attention to how you respond to things that happen to you?
Yes.
Do you? Do you, new girl? You're not saying anything over there. You're looking down. Do you have trouble? Do you struggle with the way you respond to people? Do you get mad? Do you have a temper? Sometimes. Are you getting mad right now?
No.
Give me an example of something you struggle with. Hey, we're almost over. Make it quick. Do you love to be right? Does it bother you if you're wrong?
It does sometimes. It's one of those
Will
things
you
that
fight with people to prove you're right?
if I know I'm right. If I'm kind of questioning, I won't fight about it.
That was something I had to get rid of always, and I still struggle with being a know-it-all. Why is it so important for me to feel right? Where does that come from?
Something you passed.
It comes from some type of insecurity for me to fight and get mad to prove so much to someone else. Anytime there is a tension on something outside of the inside of me knowing should be good enough. But now I've got to know that you know I'm right. Now I'm externally motivated to prove to you that I'm right. It's such a waste of energy. Because at the end of the day, you really probably don't care. You might care for 5 or 10 minutes, but then you forget about it and you go on to something else. What is it? What?
I said, you're still thinking about it all day.
Yeah, you are. You're mad. Like when you get mad, how long do you stay mad?
It affects your day.
Do you stay mad long?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm pretty good about, if I get mad, I can usually calm myself down and realize what's going on.
How do you talk to yourself? So you should be talking to yourself instead of listening to your feelings.
Well, I'm like you, and initially when somebody, like when you're getting on me, I initially internally get mad. But then I look at myself and say, what am I really doing wrong?
Here's the way I would really look at that is, why is he doing this? Is he doing this because he wants me to get better, or he's just trying to humiliate me?
Well, I always go back to, between me and you, I always go back to you saying, whenever my goals change, my expectations for you will change. So that's what I always think about when in those situations.
My wife is on here. Your wife says you still struggle with this know-it-all. Hey, good job. Good job. Hey, why is he carrying this in by himself, Josh? Van, shut us down. But I'm going to ask you, what is something you need to let go of?